Hi everyone, welcome to this podcast episode. I had a few messages that were coming through and I wanted to share with those of you who may need these pieces of light codes today or anytime you listen to this. But here's something I believe very important to know when it comes to our new Earth purpose, our new Earth mission. There is so much that we need to deprogram ourselves from when it comes to the approach that we're taking towards our purpose. And the main thing that I wanted to share today, and then there are a couple other topics that just really came through. The main thing that I want to share today is that it is because we have been so conditioned to act from a predictable, logical point of view. A lot of us, and I know it has been the case for me in the past, a lot of us are struggling with lack of clarity, lack of certainty, patience, waiting. This has been most probably my biggest struggle of all. Surrender to spirit. Just really allowing the process to, first of all, trusting the process, because, having faith in your path does require a lot of patience as well. And knowing that even though you might not see, tangible results, there is a reason for that. And I'm going to come back to that. There is a reason for that. Okay, everything, there's timing, there's a much bigger picture that we're not aware of. But then our ego selves, which is our human selves, which is our small selves, may not want to see that, right? So the more we are connected to our higher self, the more we are able to almost like get a bird's eye view and look at what is actually happening. Okay, the reason why you may not be granted your wishes right away, or the reason why you may feel some sort of blockages, it is all for a reason. And patience is actually one of the biggest qualities, virtues that we need to develop on our path, because we are yes, we are here to take action and lead things in the physical. Okay, we are God sent warriors, God sent light workers, but we gotta really learn the lesson of discerning when we're taking action from the ego, because our small selves just wanna just think that that's the best way, and when is actually divinely guided. And this is sometimes it can be a long lesson to learn, but it is all for a purpose, and that is we need to, when we are acting from our ego selves, we keep repeating the same cycles. I know I keep saying this, but I really want this to sink, because sometimes we can get into this whirlwind of reasons of why a certain thing happens. God is punishing me. Everybody else around me, has it all together. It's all this leftover thinking, because we have been programmed to believe that life is there is this predictable linear timeline to our life where you do this, and then you go to school, and then you do that, and there's no growth in it. It's just following a certain just following the template. But the spiritual growth, the spiritual work is not linear at all. At all. And there is a phase in our growth, in our path to our mission, where we get to learn this lesson of surrender, and where we get to learn this lesson of really detaching from our ego, detaching from our small self. You see, when you have led your life all based in your ego, in your programmed self, okay, which was the case before we went through the whole initiations and the spiritual growth and the karmic battlefields. You were mainly leading your life from the programmed you who was conditioned to do things to either please other people, or to follow society, or to even go against society if you're a rebel one, but it wasn't yet really dialed into source, if that makes sense, or to follow some sort of religious template. This was the you prior to going through this rite of passage, through this through these lessons, okay? And here's my perspective. I do not encourage the belief that God is ever punishing us, ever. God's source energy is the most compassionate, loving energy that there is. However, the lessons that our human self go through, they're all for our own growth. They're all to understand that if there is any bit of any bit of devil within us, we go through these lessons to purify ourselves. So in the end, it all leads us to our higher self, okay? Because even though we are light workers and beings of light, we come down here, and it is inevitable that we are going to get imprinted with negative emotions that are going to be stored in our body, okay? And so it is only through this process of purification that we actually get to release all these low vibrational attachments that are tethering us to the old earth and to this 3D matrix energetic bubble. So the way I'm seeing it is really, and I mean, it's quite a challenging process, to go through it. But the reason why I'm sharing this is because right now I'm really seeing the collective shifting in a very fresh and new way of being, and a whole new approach to life, but mostly to our purpose and our mission. Okay, if something is not meant to happen at a particular moment in time, it is because it's not meant to happen. And I will invite you to look at the thoughts and the beliefs that are running through your mind when your ego mind attached to a particular way of things having to be. What are those thoughts? In the absence of tangible results or of tangible things, you're invited to see, in that gap of time, you're invited to pay attention to your mechanism, to your system. And that's what this bubble of personally 3-4 years was, to really look at every single thing that we are still carrying. It was a pause. It was a divinely guided pause for us to no longer spin our wheels in the same directions, but to stop and look at what we are carrying, without judgment, but really looking at the ways in which we have constructed the reality. So, and here's something that is also very, very important to understand, because a lot of you, I'm hearing 80%, a lot of you are highly creative. I know that I requested, and it's not even me, it's my soul, I requested some of the most highly creative individuals on planet Earth to help, to assist, to guide, to connect with, even simply connect with. And a big lesson that personally, as a highly creative as well, I was invited to learn was that we need space. Creatives need space. We need that gap of time in which things pop up. For example, well, I know my vocabulary is not the most. Anyway, I hope the message gets through. For example, this week I was guided by my new set of guides, and we're going to come back to that, my new set of guides, to take a quote-unquote vacation. And I don't really know what that is. First of all, because in the past, I have always been constantly in survival mode, always having to strive for the first place, always having to prove myself, and that was totally exhausting. And then through this period of initiations, I was also, every single day was, okay, what do we heal today? What do we face today? It was still a very much active process of healing. Now, this divinely guided vacation, whatever that means, I mean, it did not go very well over the past days, as you can probably tell. But it's also, I think, more than the vacation itself, my guys wanted me to see this lesson of what happens in the space, what happens in stillness, what happens when you actually don't force things, and then when you don't have, when you don't tell yourself that, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna serve the collective, I'm gonna work on myself, I'm gonna go through this step-by-step process. The space that is created, it's fresh, it's new, and it's inviting new insights and new thoughts. And I'm getting chills right now all over my body. Oh my god. Okay, it's a confirmation. Whenever I get those goosebumps, it's always confirmation. So, the Syrians are here. Okay, I wanted to share that something so magical that happened in the space, especially yesterday. The 1-1 portal is a very, very, it's a beautiful number. It's new beginnings, 1-1. And someone came by to say hello. And it happened totally unexpectedly. It's not something that I forced. It's not something that I even predicted. This is why with tarot, I don't do predictions. If I do something, it's planting a seed, and then the process takes over. And if I do, it's probably like a week after week or month. It's never like 10 years from now, or I don't believe in that. I know that there is destiny, and we have chosen either a more structured destiny or a more open destiny. So it is not up to me to know whether things are supposed to happen a certain way or not. Anyway, that's a long story for another topic, for another day. But yeah, the encounter I had yesterday, and it was completely random, as I was just walking down the beach, and I heard very loud and clear that there is an upgrade of guides that I needed to go through. Meaning, yes, this is a concept that I came across while working with a set of twin flames, actually, with a set of healers that shared with me this concept of guides renewal. And this is because, our guides are supposed to help us with certain very specific things. So the guides that were there for me during my healing bubble period are not able to help me in this new beginning. And so right now, because I require specific, I have different needs, period. When you change, when you go through quantum leaps, it is important to go through an active process of change of guards. So this is what happened yesterday. I totally knew that this is a whole new level that I am stepping into. And so the new guides, well, obviously you really thank your previous guides for everything that they helped you with. And now the new ones are instructed to really to be there for this new mission, for this new chapter, for this new phase in your life, for this new beginning. And these are the new earth guides, and I gotta tell you, they're pretty badass. And so yesterday I was connecting to these newfound energies, and at some point I felt a very strong energy, a very, very, very badass. It was like a Syrian light warrior guide. And I was overwhelmed with the encounter. I was overwhelmed, just period. It's my own perspective and my own relationship with my guides is not one where I don't put them on a pedestal, yet there is a relationship of reverence and there is no, I don't believe in fear. I don't believe, the light will always give you a choice. The way to know if the devil on your shoulder and the angel on the other shoulder, the way to know which voice is the light and which voice is the darkness is the dark will always impose you certain things. You almost feel like you have no control over it. The light will always give you a choice. And this is why we go through, situations where we might have been led astray. And then when we come back to the light is always compassionate. God is always receiving you back with open arms. And you are so humbled and so much in reverence that that you're just never gonna choose the other path again. It's very, very different, and we also go through situations where we just have to learn. We have to learn how to discern between the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other shoulder. So that encounter was really, really, really powerful. And then I was asking myself, like, who is that? Wow. And I heard a little voice saying that it is actually my higher self. And I was blown away because this also helps you understand that when we look up to certain light beings, we disconnect from our own power. And there are times in our life where, yes, we operate from this gap. Okay, we rely on our guides, we give our power away because we have to, because we're not ready to actually know our power. Because if we knew our power and we used it, if our vessels are not purified enough and we use it for the devil's agenda, it's very dangerous. So God, and I don't like the word the universe, but your guides, the new guides that are, the gap is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. The more you trust your inner goodness as well, the more you know how to choose the path of light, because you really need to be careful of how you use your power. Okay, and a lot of us have gone through situations where we had very poor leaders and where we had to see how power is misused. Sometimes it can also be lingering past lives memories where we ourselves abused power, and we got to go through the cleaning of that through past life healing and past life regression. Personally, for me, that was my biggest fear of all, is I was afraid of my power because I was afraid to lead people astray. I cannot stress this enough. It was it was such a deeply ingrained fear that I was so afraid to show up and so afraid to I was constantly questioning my words, my thoughts, and everything that I was saying, and it took me a while to really be able to know that, okay, I know that I'm ready for it. And so if you're put on a pause, it's not a punishment. It is so that you can also step into a sovereign position of knowing that you are truly guiding people towards the light. So yeah, the encounter with my higher self. Okay, and I'm gonna end with this because it's this is really a message that I wanted to put out there. As I have shared in the past, I'm feeling a lot of throat chakra right now. As I have shared in the past, I was so deep into this glamorous self-help industry because I wanted to, I was looking for answers. And it's yet another bubble of conditioning. But anyway, I'm not gonna get into that too deep. And so there is a lot of talk around higher self, right? Higher self. Oh, connect with your higher self. La 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 la. And the programming in there is that when you connect to your higher self from your ego, what you're gonna see is an ego filtered version of your higher self. Meaning, you may see your higher self as a 10 feet slim model because your ego wants to fit into that box. Or you may see yourself as, the number one CEO of the world. I'm not good with examples, but you see, you're still operating from the boxes. You're still projecting an image of yourself, an identity that is what society wants, that is what your parents wanted, that is what your narcissistic spouse wants of you, or anything that is still filtered through an external energy that is not your pure soul. So it is useless to go through this process of working towards your vision of your higher self when it is imprinted with all these layers of illusions. And so some of us may need to go through that process of understanding that your higher self is not, it's not that, okay? And it's, we're still in the box, we're still in the bubble when we do so. Now, my higher self was a Syrian light being, the blue skin, their beautiful bodies. I personally struggle with finding the human body beautiful, but I mean, that's just me. I know it's something that I still need to improve, but I love the Syrians. I love the Syrians. They're just so beautiful. I want to cry. And this is who our higher self is. This is us from, the 9D, 12D, saying hello back to us. We have ascended so many dimensions, and that's our higher self. Okay, that's what's, in, I don't know how long, but it is us from the future waving at us saying, hello, you have ascended quite a few dimensions and you're pretty badass, so keep going. But it is not the us that is, wearing shiny bags, or I don't even know what, the matrix standards are, but that is very important to understand, is that everything you're trying to fix about yourself because the matrix told you should be a certain way, or because your self-worth is still attached to this external, the need for external validation, this is what you need to heal before you can truly fully connect with your most badass, pure higher self version. And it's, you will be able to discern through your heart. When your heart is open enough to welcome your pure self, your soul, okay, the more you connect with your soul, the more you're able to see clearly who you truly are. Okay, I wrote a book a while ago. I mean, it took me 5 years to write it, but it's out there. And the book is all about peeling back the layers of who you thought you were. And it has always been my main drive. I just wanted to not be who I was, because I just knew it wasn't me, and I knew that my path was just outside of all these constraints, and I just knew that I wasn't meant to have a mainstream normal, quote-unquote normal path. And this is the process that we are going through, to get us to really see ourselves accurately. That's really it. That's the process of ascension, and being able to see who we really are at a core soul level. And when you do so, you know that your main goal is to really transform yourself from the inside out. Now, how you look, it's really up to you. It doesn't mean that right now you're just gonna color your skin in blue and shave your head and I don't know what else to look more like. There are some cases, actually. This is also okay. This is something that I saw, and I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm going to end with this. There are some cases of starseeds who are rejecting their human existence, and they did all the surgeries possible to look more like their higher self. And this is also not what this is all about. This is very important also to grasp. Very, very, very important. It is, yes, we know that this is our higher self, and yet this human existence is about living, in a human body, having this existence as it is, all while knowing that in other planes of dimensions, this is who we are. okay? And yes, we gotta align more and more and more and more and more energetically, very important word, energetically with the truth of who we are. But we also need to honor our human existence and our human vessels, okay? Because this is not about superiority, or it's not about thinking you're better than 3D humans. And this is not the reason why I'm keep sharing about 3D people. It is because even it is very important to see this distinction. It is important to know that as in humanity, we are just like the animal kingdom. Even if we look slightly different and have different color skins, this is not what this is all about. This is about the soul. We have soul groups, we have origins, star origins, we have our essence is different regardless of how we look like. It's not about being color or I don't know, not even being a certain gender or culture. That is nonsense. That is separation consciousness and total bullshit. But the way we need to see, and the reason why I keep sharing about the 3D people is because it helps you protect yourself from the dark agenda, to see through the masks of who people really are, is understanding that we're not all led by the light. And as empaths, this is a lesson that we had to learn the hard way, because we keep giving people the benefit of the doubt, and you keep believing that a narcissist can change, and you keep believing you want to trust in the goodness of life and the goodness of people. Well, turns out that when you go into the jungle and you pray on your knees that the lion won't eat you, good luck with that. And I have personally gone through very, 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 very serious awakening when I first encountered, the really, really, really dark people in my life. And I kept believing, oh no, this is not, the narcissist can change. I remember I was in a therapist's office with an amazing professional who literally gave me this example of, the lion and the jungle. And it was the first awakening where I realized, like, oh my God, the devil is really around here. And this is not to be, how do you call it? Paranoid, like, oh my God, right now I'm not going to talk to anyone. But knowing how to protect yourself and knowing how the spiritual battle operates behind the scenes. That was my biggest lesson in my initiation, is to stop believing in the goodness of the devil, because there are literally two agendas here on Earth. They are, and that is the Earth split. And that's okay. We did not come here to rescue the devil. That is a big lesson that some of you who may still, or not, but some of you may still be in the savior mode. That is a tough pill to swallow, and I get it. Really seeing through the masks of people, it is horrifying. It is a really tough experience. A really tough experience. But it's it's part of, it's almost like having like cold water, having a cold shower, and seeing, oh wow, okay, I need to wake up from the bubble of illusion that everything is roses and butterflies, extract myself from those who are not walking the path of light, go through this purification and create a new earth, not from a place of again, butterflies and roses and rainbows and unicorns, but from a place of really seeing through, and from a place of just knowing. God wants to know. God wants to help us see who is meant to come into your new beginning, who is not, because it's just not, physically, scientifically possible for an individual that is in the darkness to ascend into the 5D. Is just not able. We're not able to, energetically access that level of dimension, that higher dimension, if we still carry low density devil imprinting. It's just not possible. And thank God. But yeah, until you are actually going to detach yourself from those who will never because they are so committed to the devil agenda. And I don't know what the percentage will be, and I don't know how many people will stay in the 3D, how many people will go in the 5D. I don't know. Okay, and this is not about, I know that there's a lot about, keeping the hope and knowing that, yeah, people may change and miracles happen. And no, I don't want to, bash or to speak bad words about religion or anything like that. But it's about seeing this truth for what it is. Okay, sometimes we need to lose the hope in, not in ourselves, not in our path, but false hope, which is illusion. We gotta do that, and that is such a cold shower and fresh. Like it's really helping you. Like it's clearing your root chakra. It's helping you get more grounded in the reality. Okay, because you're no longer in some sort of parallel universe where everyone is kind. That was my lesson. That was one of the biggest lessons that I had to learn personally, and it's what we're here to do, because this was the transition between the 3D and the 5D, and we lingered so much in the 4D, so that the 4D is all about the unseen. It's all about seeing through the masks. Before the 3D, we were mostly seduced by the appearances. Okay, now the 4D is where you get to look, go through the files of your subconscious, start seeing, spirit, start feeling, perceiving the energy. It's a limbo state, I like to call it. The 4D, it's not a place where you want to stay for long. And then you ascend, okay? But you gotta go through the 4D process before you can actually really fully embody the 5D version of you. All right, so that was my message for you. I truly hope that it landed where it needs to land. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care and bye for now.